harmonic, the octile, and the semi-square. Again, quite powerful. The ninth harmonic represents the 9, and the 9s represent the end of a cycle. These, again, are outstanding and throughout the entire stock market on all moves related to the market. This information took about 2 years to understand. This was quite complex at first. And I don't mean a surface understanding. I mean an absolute deep depth of understanding. Because without clear understanding and correlation, there's no way that you can apply it to the stock market. There are coordinate systems that are key to the overview of this game. The 4 primary coordinate systems are ecliptic, horizon, equatorial, and prime vertical. The intersections of these great circles lead us to time turns in the market. This single image took me 3 months to build and to try to understand. The great circles are quite complex, but they are the key to time, I believe. The ascendant, the midheaven, the vertex, declinations, equatorial relationships, latitudes, the ecliptic, and part of fortune are all derived from variables from the great circles. These coordinate systems are where vibration occurs on different levels. I kind of equate this a little bit to a 4-dimensional chessboard, kind of like what we might have seen back when Star Trek was on. They used to have a 4-dimensional board. This sacred circle yields much and requires a deep study. This is quite powerful and one of the keys to the entire solution of the market. We can't see it in a 3-dimension. We don't see this only in a 2-dimensional plane because charts are shown to us 2-dimensionally. We're working on the ability to see this as a 3-dimensional graph. This would allow you to see the relationships of these in a much more complex, in a much more visual way. Because those of you who are visual like me, I like to see this and be able to understand these relationships. Here's the ecliptic, and then we see the horizon and the relationships and the points that they meet, and all the prime vertical relationships, all the vertex relationships, the zenith and the nadir. And this, again, allows us to see the complexity of how time and how we've perceived it since ancient time. So the coordinate systems, again, quite powerful. The great circles, one of the key things to solve the entire puzzle. Now we go on to luminaries. The sun and the moon, the lunar phase angle. This is one of my favorite intraday cycles. This cycle is quite predictable and quite accurate. Oftentimes, though, if there are larger cycles in play, it will only be worth a small bounce. But when the sun and the moon are in a powerful sign or have many aspects to them, this can be quite telling. Now, this chart is actual. This was built ahead of time. This is not after the fact. One of the things that constantly amazes me is the ability to have the market drop into areas that are absolutely forecastable. And the relationship and what would happen and where would it go to was forecastable. This is the sun-moon lunar angle, that point at that day at that time. The range of the day was defined by the moon-sun lunar phase. So in essence, this day was described from a predetermined low and a predetermined high. This is something that you cannot do any other way. Every day there's a lunar angle in play. But at only my critical degrees do I believe that this is where the energies are truly released. So the key of it is the specific critical degrees we'll talk about in a little bit. The lunar phase, the sun-moon energy, small swings are usual. It acts as a timer intraday. It is primarily affected when they're at critical degrees, and oftentimes it'll represent all the phases of the moon. So again, what we see here is the moon phases being described as vibration. And literally, if you could see the moon itself, you have to think of it almost as this is the moon traveling in space as we go into this point where it meets price, and then the vibration takes off, and it goes up to hit its other vibration on the north side or at a high. That's a quite powerful concept. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. Concept of symmetry. Here we see an A, a B, a C, and a D. Symmetry means that sometimes the AB leg is often equivalent to the CD leg. This is a forecastable tool that you can use for extensions, expectations of waves if you use Elliott waves. I find they work about 70% of the time that AB will equal CD. In this case, this was a forecast on the forum that I did in the morning at about 3 in the morning. And my target was seen here at D. And at D, I posted that we would hit ABCD, and this would be the low of that morning. And this is the actual result on what had happened from the ABCD target. So this concept of symmetry is quite powerful. Once the market went from A, it exceeded 100%. The next stop would be a Fibonacci expansion, which could be approximately 1.217. If it went higher, it would go up to the golden mean of 1.618. These extensions work in natural log, in pi extensions, many mathematical relationships, and targets are planned and forecast ahead of time. So again, the ability of forecasting ahead of time is quite powerful. This measurement of the move AB is approximately 10 points down. So then the BC move retraced about 6 points. So we went 10 points down, approximately 6 points up. Then the CD leg, the expectation to be approximately 10 points. And if it exceeds that again, we get into Fibonacci expansions or other divisional degrees. So in this case, the AB equals CD was approximately 100% of the AB leg. So again, quite a powerful concept and yet a pretty straightforward one. Here again, we can see the result as the market continued to go higher, and the AB equals CD, what I just call very strong geometry. The amplitude was a little stronger than the ABCD normally, but this is because it's based on cycles. As you understand the cycles, the cycle that was at this low enabled the market to do a tremendous amplitude that day. So the ABCD geometry would not have forecast this strength. That's only forecasted by cycles, and the vibration of the planet pair converted to price. So the resulting amplitude was cycle-based. ABCDs are based on the legs themselves, and oftentimes people will use these with Elliott wave counts. I find them a little harder to see. So again, I use cycles, and I find that the cycle-based understanding is way more powerful and way more accurate. The other thought with this slide is that geometry is powerful in all markets, and it is connected to numerology of price and time. So again, quite a unique concept. As we go forward here on the Platonic solids, this is an original, I believe it was made out of brass back in Kepler's days. They created the square and the circle and the trine, which in essence are the secrets of the universe. The relationships of these Platonic solids are quite powerful. The application sometimes is quite challenging in the stock market. I apply these for myself through aspectal relationships of the planets. So the trine representing the 120, the square, the 90, the cube, the tetrahedron. Again, we have aspectal relationships. So that's how I use them primarily. This is where aspects release energy. How do they release energy? Why do they release energy? Where do they release energy? When? And what amplitude are they going to do? These are all the key questions that we ask constantly. Because if we answer these 5 questions, you really truly understand why the market moves. And in essence, what I do that's different is the understanding of cause and effect. This is not reactive. This is all predictive, based again on geometry of the universe, harmonics of the universe, cycles of the universe. So here's our last slide in this section. and it's on the planet Sirius. This is quite a discovery. Sirius is the second sun. It's our dual sun. Sirius is a binary star, and I believe it's the mirror of our own sun. I believe it has a special relationship to all our planets. So if you study back in ancient times, both the Egyptians, Mayans, and the Atlantean calendars were believed to have began at the heliotic raising of Sirius. So why, when Sirius was rising, did they start their calendars? Why do our calendars have no bearing to July 23rd? If Sirius is a star that is so much brighter and has so much more power, it spins on its axis every 23 minutes. This is unheard of in our solar system. So the speed of Sirius in its rotational orbit generates some enormous amount of energy that the power of this planet star, I believe, is extraordinary. So this is one that I'll continue to work on, and I believe is one of the secrets to all of our universe. In this case, this is an example of May 5th, we had a major top on the S&P. Mars was conjunct Sirius. In this example we're looking at, Mercury was parallel Sirius in declination. And here's an example of the pink line represents Mercury's vibration and the relationship with Sirius. And the market dropped with an expectation of going lower, which it did. And some time cycles came in, and it reacted off those time cycles, which were the vertical. So again, in this case, a unique, never-before-revealed star. And how does it have an effect on our market? One of the keys is to be open-minded, to consider all the possibilities. And why would the Egyptian mathematics, the Mayan calendars, all of these ancient societies and civilizations look at Sirius as such a powerful, powerful entity? So this is just the beginning of the research into this planet, and I believe will yield some really amazing results as we go down the future. But we can see it by, again, creating the vibration that I've shown you here. And you can see Sirius and Mercury connecting. That's an exact hit. So, again, quite powerful. So we're going to take a minute break or so here, and we'll go forward in a second, and we'll go from there.